I want to go over SPY and Tesla today because SPY closed out a gap and created a gap, and Tesla reported earnings. Hi everyone, it's Dow on the Dow. I'm going to go over SPY first on the 5-minute time frame and give you some price targets for Thursday. We ended the day at $430.21, down more than 1%. The day's range is 429.09 and the high 435.18. This is where we ended on the 5-minute time frame, very close to -2 standard deviations. To the north side from where we are takes us to the middle of the trend, and that is 433.90. If we make it to this level, I will anticipate this to be resistance and people will take their profits at this point. And if we continue to go up, the gap forms at this point at 434.85, closes out at roughly 435.69. To the north side of that at 2 standard deviations and another level of resistance and possible take profit area, 438.09. Above that, 440.20 and 442.33. Now to the south side, as I mentioned, at -2 standard deviations, that takes us to 429.66. This would be support. I anticipate a bounce tomorrow at support, and then obviously if we crater to the next level, then I will anticipate another bounce at this level, which is roughly 427.60 and 425.47. This is the move from today, right here. We opened up the day with a gap to the downside, so this gap formed. So I will anticipate it to close out tomorrow. That's not a very big gap. This gap closed today at 431.67 to the downside. It started, as I had mentioned in my other video, at roughly 433.54. So we are done with that. And this gap closed to the upside at 435.76. Now, there is another gap that I need to extend that I talked about previously. It's this one. It has not closed out just yet, but it got very close. You can see right here that it almost made it, but did not quite get there. Again, at 438. Let me move that. So now that I expanded it, that's roughly 438.44 and 435.94 starts. So if we hit this on Thursday, I will anticipate a pullback because logically this is at 2 standard deviations, a take profit area, another take profit area, and yet another take profit area. Sell, 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 and this would be considered your buy zone. All right, and then this gap closed to the downside at 433.88. You can swing trade this or day trade this all day long looking at gaps. That's my favorite, gaps, to play off of gaps, to the upside or to the downside. If it's usually to the downside, I wait for price to get there. If it looks like it's in the channel that I'm working in, otherwise I like to ride it up to the upside. The RSI is at 40, and it looks like we are going up, bouncing off of this support line at 30. Now I want to show you this on the daily time frame. Take a look at the big picture here. I personally like to look at ETFs and stocks on the monthly time frame and troll for good prices on quality stocks. All right, we are right here. I know it's hard to see because I've marked this out so many times, so ignore every other line and marking here and ignore all of the horizontal lines on the daily time frame. You can't, on the 5-minute time frame. It's not on here. Oh, it's right here, excuse me. All right, we are right here. To the north side takes us back to the middle of the trend, and that would be roughly $444.85. And to the south side at -2 standard deviations takes us to roughly 413.71. Now I'm going to go over to Tesla. We had earnings today. Let me go to the 5-minute time frame first. And let me give you some price targets for Tuesday. That's what I'm going to do right now, and then we'll dive into this some more. All right, we ended the day at 242.68, down more than 4.5%. The range for today, 242.08 and 254.63. The low for the 52-week period, $101.81 and $299.29. All right, to the north side from where we are takes us back to the middle of the trend and the baseline where price tends to run before making its way to the upside or to the downside. It grinds usually at the middle of the trend, okay? So from here, this is considered resistance at 247.73. Another level of resistance is 253.84. Ignore that horizontal line. That was the TradingView price target that we already met. And that took place on the 15th. Okay, so 2 standard deviations, 253.84. 3 standard deviations and another level of resistance, 256.95 and 259.99. Now to the south side, this is support, 241.62, 238.58, and 235.47. Well, if you take a look at the after hours trading, where did it? You know what? It's not here. I will look that up and make notes of it on my description box. But in after hours trading, it tanked. And as Murat said, you know, we expected a downturn of around 4.5% if we did not meet expectations in revenue. So that's what happened. All right. And he said that Tesla, when he texted or when he messaged me earlier today, that we are in the bottom of the upper channel at 242, this range. So again, price is at the bottom of the upper channel. So before the earnings, he saw this play out in 2 ways, falling to 220 to 218 or bouncing, if we did well, from roughly 260 to 290. Let me mark that out. And I'll mark that out on the daily so you can see it better. But just looking left very quickly, this was the move from today right here. All right, we hit resistance. What happens at resistance? People take their profits and they run. Even the bot told you to sell. If you are, you know, doing day trading or short swing trades, if you are buying back down here, then obviously you ride it up here and you get out. So the bot triggered the sells. So then anytime we hit the where the bot says to sell at resistance, at 2 standard deviations, 3 and 4, I anticipate a pullback, and sure enough, we went to the middle of the trend, didn't even grind around there, just kind of fell, went sideways, fell again, went sideways, and then we hit another level of resistance. And what happens at resistance? People buy in, the stock ran up, the bot even triggered a buy signal, didn't quite make it up to resistance up here, fell back down, and then here we are at earnings. We did not meet the earnings and we did not meet the revenue. And the article here, Tesla earnings fall as price cuts weigh on profits. So Elon Musk said that the company faces enormous challenges scaling up factory production of its long-delayed Cybertruck, signaling profits could remain under pressure in the coming quarters. So don't expect this thing to ride to the upside before feeling more pain. So on Tesla's earnings call, he struck a cautious tone about the year ahead, expressing concerns about the broader economy, including higher interest rates and their impact on consumers. So keep that in mind. So this could be a time for you to possibly get in at a better price if you wait for price to fall. I know that my sister has a truck reserved, and so do I, but I prefer to wait, I think, for the Apple car personally, but I really would like a truck. But anyway, so that is a look at Tesla. Now, taking a look left, this is a gap that formed a while back on the 4th of October. It did not close out until today. So this is how I like to mark out my gaps. I'm just going to extend it here all the way till it touches the bottom. Right there. So we have closed this gap out at 246.66 to the downside. Just move this over here. I'm going to change that to where I had it precisely. I can erase this one. I erased the upper one when there's a gap to the downside because I know it closed to the south side. That's just so that I can quickly scan and see what went up and what went down. I like to mark the gaps that go to the downside in red and the gaps that go to the upside in green. And if you don't see gaps, what you can do is make sure you have it on the correct candles. This is the Heiken Ashi if you want smoother lines so you don't see as much noise on the candles, or if you want to see your gaps, which I do like to take a look at it, switch it over to candles there. And then when I'm looking at it doing my trades, I do often switch it over so I block out all the noise and just see a smooth chart for myself. And then sometimes I will get rid of these upper lines as well because I like to play basically within -2 and 2. That's very safe for me. And then sometimes I push it and ride up my profits up here, and then I don't catch it soon enough when it starts to fall because I always anticipate it to fall. And that's where putting in a price limit will help you as well. Now, this is the RSI. We are going down on the 5-minute time frame. And all of these gaps have closed to the upside or the downside here, 251, 262.47, 260. All day long, you can try to play gaps to the upside and to the downside. Let me show you this on the daily. All right, again, hard to see because I have marked this out so much, but we are right here on this red line, and to the north of where we are would take us to the upper channel, which is 325.19, and back at the middle of the trend where we could grind for a little bit is 226.39. The RSI is at 43 and turning down. I will anticipate this to go to the downside and then possibly hitting the oversold area and then possibly people scooping it up. Now I'm going to mark out what the potential price range that Murat thought we could go before earnings came out. So what I'm going to do is just do it here and change my numbers to 220, which is right there. 218. Right. And the target to the upside could potentially be 260. And do one more to 290. That's going to be down the road now, something to look forward to, but this is very volatile right now, this stock. And notice the gaps to the downside that I never even brought up yet because we are not in that zone when I look at it on the 5-minute time frame. But if you are investing or trying to pick up the stock at a better price by waiting or playing it or shorting the stock, there are some areas to go short. So let me bring this back to the 5-minute. Okay. So the 220 and 218 is down here, and obviously the 260 to 290 range takes it all the way up, price all the way up to here. And 260 on the 5-minute time frame takes us to between 3 and 4 standard deviations, but we are down here. It's going to be probably a couple of days if we get into that zone. All right, that does it for me. Thank you so much for watching. If there is a stock that you would like me to go over, please let me know, and please read the comments. Murat makes a lot of or gives me a lot of technical analysis and sometimes fundamental analysis too that you might want to check out. And he did talk about end phase also, so I will do a video on that very soon. All right, thanks so much for watching.